Hey y'all, welcome to another fun interview. And here I have Tyler Jones with us. Hey Tyler,
Hey, Lexi.
thank you for being here. This is super, super fun. I follow you, of course, on your socials and see you
Mhm.
posting all the time about all your different books, and they are so super, super cool. So,
Right on.
I kind of like to work it backwards and tell me
Sure.
about one of your latest books.
The latest ones. Well, a couple days from now, so October 1st, I've got a new novella coming out. In fact, you know what? Hold on, let me grab it. I've got a novella coming out from Lethe Press called Long Sight M40, and
Yes.
just in time for Halloween. And that's the beautiful cover art by Ben Baldwin. And
Yes.
it's about four high school friends who go to a horror themed carnival and discover a broken fortune telling machine. Somebody wrote a review recently, and I love. They said it's like if Big was directed by Jordan Peele, and I love that. Like, I wish I'd thought of it.
Oh, that is a good one. And now I'm just like, okay, that's moving way up my to be read.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's fun, it's heavy. Like I originally pitched it as like a Twilight Zone episode with touches of Final Destination. So it was my attempt to try and write um a Twilight Zone episode basically. So
Well,
this
that cover
novella,
definitely screams that. So,
yeah, it does, huh? So that comes out in a couple days, who knows when this will
ooh,
air, but it may be out by then. Um and then just a couple months ago, my novel Midas came out from Lethe as well. And
yes.
this was a reissue of the novel that was published by Earthling. So it was published by Earthling in a deluxe limited edition back in 2023. It was their Halloween series book. So it took a couple years, but it finally found a home and it's out, which I'm just absolutely thrilled about. And also Ben Baldwin cover art.
I'm a
And it
huge
has,
Ben Baldwin fan.
oh,
So,
he's amazing, isn't he?
yes. Every
Yeah.
time I see a cover and I'm really, really obsessed with it, I'm like, I bet you that's Ben. And I go and check, and it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to work with him. We've done, let's see, 4 covers together, I think now, 5. And what's really interesting is I'm going to go off on an art tangent here. So if you look at the cover, he uses this combination of like Photoshop and paint, like digital art. But he's not the kind of artist who can only work in that medium. So, like, if I could show you the sketches that he drew for these, he drew them first in pencil, and then we worked out the details. So he's as gifted an artist as he is at combining mediums to make something really unique, which is what I love about his stuff. It's like, is that real or is that did you paint that?
Yes.
It's
He's like a mixed media artist of like the
yeah.
craziest tier. It's just insane to me. I think that's what I like so much about his covers is they're always so different, and I think it's because he does it from like literally the ground up.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good way to put it. It's like he's constructing something and he knows what he wants the final result to be, but he's just throwing everything at it to make it as vibrant as it can be.
Yes. His art is beautiful.
Yeah, so that's the latest stuff that I have. Yeah, excited to have Midas out, excited for Longsight to be out.
I know. I was super excited to see somebody pick up Midas because I missed it from Earthlings, which I
Mhm.
also happen to be obsessed with. I have Night of the Long Knives from
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I also have Carved in Salt from Rapture, but it's up in plastic because I keep all of those in plastic, so nothing happens to them. But anyway,
Yeah. Those are
uh,
beautiful chatbooks, huh?
they are. I'm so obsessed. I have up to date on the entire collection right now, and I just can't wait for more to come out. The artwork's just beautiful on them.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Mitch is a great guy, and I know he's got a lot of really cool creative things planned for next year as well.
yes,
So if you're
super.
not on board with Rapture now, you'll want to be next year for sure.
Yeah,
So might as well start now.
yeah,
Yes,
and he's still
exactly.
got some of the old stuff on there, so grab those
Hmm.
before you can anymore. Because trust me, you will have regrets.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, so Rapture makes limited edition chat books, and they're not just chap books. They are works of art. So Mitch, who runs Rapture, puts a lot of work into them, and he releases numbered and lettered editions. And they all have gorgeous cover art by Chris Panettiere, as well as interior artwork. Yeah, he makes glassware sometimes for him. So that's for
I
Sam's.
have one of these down.
But they're all signed, they're all numbered. So they're highly collectible, and he uses like gorgeous paper and cardstock. There's more
Here's
Chris
a
art
bookmark
there.
from one of his last ones. He just sends like such cute, adorable things that all go together.
Yeah,
With it.
yeah.
It's a great thing.
Stickers, bookmarks, glassware, you name it. He's doing it right.
Look at us off on a tangent.
I know already. Sometimes tangents are the best, though.
They are. You get to talk about cool things.
Yeah.
Okay, what were we talking about? Let's see. Books. Let's talk about books. So you've got a couple of different ones coming out. I still need to read Midas, but I'm very, very excited for it. Where do you get your ideas from? Are these things that you just kind of walk into, or are you like a planner, plot it out kind of thing?
Yeah. Definitely not a planner. Well, I should say I didn't used to be. And it's funny you ask that because it's evolving right now. So where I'm at now is somewhere between a pantser and a plotter. And I used to be pure pantser. So like I just walk into something having no clue where it was going to all lead, and just having a blast discovering it, which has always been my favorite part, the discovery. You know, like I sincerely believe that a writer, you're telling a story, but you're telling it to yourself first. So at least I do. I have to enjoy that process, and I have to look forward to what comes next and have some uncertainty about where it's all going. And I think that leaks into stories as well. Like if a writer isn't quite sure where it's going, but trusts the process, I think that probably leads to a reader feeling some of that unexpected nature of the story.
Absolutely.
But I also see so like my friend Philip Fracassi, you know, he's an outliner, and I get the same sense of unexpected twists and turns and all that. So yeah, lately I've been more planning a lot more than I have in the past.
I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think if I wrote, I would have to plan. Otherwise, I would just be 14 books deep and all of them just like 10 pages done on them because I would have nowhere. But I also know people that literally just walk into it and start writing and bust this entire book out. And I'm like, how do you even do that? It's crazy. But
yeah,
so many good books come from different ways. It's interesting.
Totally. And I'd like to become a little bit more structured in that regard. And I am getting there in my own way. Like here's an example. So almost every book that I've written, I have had no clue where it's going to go. I just follow it, which leads to a lot of editing. You know, because you realize that you're going a direction and maybe the first quarter of the book doesn't support that in quite the same way. So then you have to go back and fix all that stuff. But I recently sold a book to Clash that's going to come out in 2027. And that book, it's called Go, just Go, as in let's go fast. We got things to do, places to go, people after us. Bullets are flying. It's like a crime horror hybrid. About a woman who works for this really reclusive, brutal gangster who has his fingers in the Portland, Oregon underworld. And he asks her to go pick something up for him. And what she picks up, she has no clue what it is, but it turns out that lots of people are after it and they want it bad. So she's got to go. So that book, it came to me like over the course of a 20 to 25 minute drive. I was listening to a song over and over and over again. And as I listened to it, images kept appearing in my head. And it, by the time I finished my drive, I had the whole thing mapped out. So writing that has been a lot of fun because I knew where it was going. So I've had fun finding out how we're going to get there. So I had these main beats, and then I'd write the connective tissue to get to them. So there's still a lot of discovery, but I also know where it's going.
That does sound fun. I think I could do that. That's much, much better than just, okay, well, here's my story. Where's it going? I would absolutely lose my mind. There would be no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like jazz. Like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of a bad example, but as I understand it, like, if you've got somebody like Miles Davis, he's got the basic structure of a song, but then when he plays it live with his band, there's so much improvisation happening. So they've got the main points of the song, but they do all these crazy things to get there.
True. That's interesting. I like that thought process for it. That does make more sense.
Yeah, let's just say it's like jazz, and
There we go. That's what we're going to go with from now on.
Exactly like jazz.
So, who do you think were your biggest influences to getting here to wanting to be an author? Like, even way, way, way back?
Way, way, way back. Franklin Dixon.
Ooh.
Do you know who that is?
Isn't that the author of the Hardy Boys?
It sure is.
Okay, I was about to say,
Nice.
I think it is, but yeah, I was more Nancy Drew, but after I finished Nancy Drew, of course, I had to read all the Hardy Boys.
Yeah. Carolyn Keene, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I discovered much later that it probably, as far as I know, was like many people writing under that name. Yes. But at the time, I thought it was one guy who wrote this awesome series of books that I loved. So Hardy Boys and then Mark Twain.
Ooh.
And it was a combination of Hardy Boys, Mark Twain, and Steven Spielberg. So my first awareness of here are things I really like, and they were all created by this one person. Like when I realized that E.T. and Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Last Crusade and Jaws, all made by the same guy, and Dixon wrote all the Hardy Boys. So I thought at the time, like, wow, so there's a person creating these awesome things. I want to do that. I want to create things. So that was the start. And then much later, I got into Stephen King in junior high. And yeah, that got me like really into the horror genre, what that could accomplish. And from there, I've just read extensively, but those were the three primary ones that pop into my head that got me like, somebody's creating.
That is very good. And it is inspirational when you think about that. Like, somebody is out here creating like these entire world stories, the whole thing, and you want to do that too. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And it led me on a path that I've never really left in terms of following creators more than the creation. So I do that with books, music, and film. I'm more interested in who created it than the subject matter. So if it's a writer I love and trust, I don't really care what the book is. Like David Mitchell is one of my favorite writers. He wrote Cloud Atlas, The Bone Clocks. David Mitchell comes out with a book. I don't care what it's about as much as I care that David Mitchell wrote a new book.
So I'm a big Ellen Datlow fan.
Yeah.
If she put an anthro together, it does not matter if I care about it at all. Like, I know she has true crime ones that I've read. I don't really care much for true crime, but she put it together. I like everything she does. So I read it and I'm like, oh, this is so cool,
Yeah.
But no, definitely, absolutely agree with that. It's something super cool to be able to go to them, find out something they've put together and just dive into it.
Yeah. And if you're following interesting artists, like Ellen obviously is one of those, then you discover things that you wouldn't have otherwise discovered. Like same thing with David. I've told this story before, but it's worth retelling. So David Mitchell is up there with Joe Hill as being my favorites. And I'd read all of David Mitchell's books except this one called The Thousand Autumns of Jacob de Zoet. And that's because, and how crazy is this? It turns out, I did not know this at the time, hand to God, that actually is Joe Hill's very favorite book. I had no clue at the time. So I discovered David Mitchell before I discovered Joe Hill. Anyway, the point being, I'd read all of David Mitchell's books except that one because it sounded so boring. It's about it's about like trading in the era of feudal Japan. So like the Dutch East India Trading Company opening up trade with Japan. I'm like, that sounds awful. Why would I? That sounds like Cloud Atlas, has a cool description. The Bone Clock sounds awesome. That one just sounded horrible. So I held off. That was the last book. I'd read all of his books except that one. And I thought, well, I love Mitchell. He's never let me down. I guess I'll give it a shot. And man, I fell into that book like a dream and just loved every page of it. So I mean, there you go, and it's become one of my all-time favorite books. So
That's
I trust
insane.
the artist, and he led me to a place that I wouldn't have otherwise have gone.
I have the same experience with The Dark Tower. I'm a huge
Mhm.
Stephen King junkie. Have been since I was little, too little to even be reading / watching, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
And I put off The Dark Tower until I was a couple years ago, actually, because I was like, I don't want to hate this, and I'm afraid I will, and I can't do
Mhm.
that. One of the best things I've ever read in my entire life, and I think I've read it so many times since then. And I'm like, why did I put this off for so
Yeah.
long? It's
Isn't
crazy.
but then it's there waiting for you to discover when you're ready,
Yes.
you know?
And
And
love
an
it.
interesting thought experiment is to think that maybe you were always meant to hold off reading it until you did, you know?
Exactly. Maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it, and then I would have been sad about it, and I would have hated that.
Totally. I mean, not to get all woo-woo, but there is some part of me that thinks that we can only discover things that are meaningful to us when we're ready to.
I think that's why I don't get upset about my to be read book sets, because I've
Mhm.
bought it and I know at some point I'm going to be ready to read that book, and that's a gift from me from later.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to think of it. And if you
Absolutely.
don't feel compelled to read it right now, then maybe you shouldn't.
Exactly. Maybe I'll enjoy it much more later, and there's something
Yeah.
else I need to be reading right now, which of course is always something else I'm always reading.
Yeah, and it's so hard because there's constantly good things coming out, but then there's this wealth of books that have been released over the years that are still waiting for us, to
It seems
discover
like
them.
the last 2 years has been a big blow up, and just so many good things coming out all at the same time. Just so many good books. It's just, I
Yeah,
love it.
it's almost overwhelming.
It is, but
Yeah.
eventually I'll get through all of them.
Someday, someday.
Maybe someday. Let's see. What else do we need to talk about, or can we talk about? What books do you have that are cooking in the works? I guess if you have any that you're. I know that you have the one that you just showed me the cover of that I now cannot remember the name of. Um,
Longsight M40, that
yes,
one? Yeah.
yes, I'm super excited actually to read that one. I've seen you posting about it recently. But what
Mhm.
do you think your next book is going to be? Do you have stuff that's cooking on the back burner and you have a couple going at the same time, or are you one of those people that just picks something and then goes with that until it's done?
Yeah, I can only work on one thing at a time typically. But, next year I have, let's see, I've got let's see, over the next year, 2 years, I've got the next 2 years mapped out.
Hmm.
I've got, let's see, 3, 6 coming out over the next 2 years for sure. And that's a combination of books through publishers, I mean, like, new work being released, and then, a couple of deluxe editions. But I can only talk about the 2 that have been announced so far, and that's, the Clash book coming out in 2027, but then next year, I have a book coming from, Shortwave called, Depth Charge, and that one is one I'm really, really excited about. It's had an interesting life. I look forward to talking about it at the time, but, uh, it's probably my favorite thing I've ever written right now.
Oh, that
It's,
is exciting.
yeah, yeah, I've had it in various forms for a couple years, and just I've had offers from other publishers to put it out, and I agreed to one and actually ended up pulling it back like a total jerk, just 'cause something didn't feel right about releasing it at that point in time. And, I worked on it a little bit more, expanded it, and it's got a home with Shortwave, which I couldn't be more grateful for. I mean, Alan
Oh,
does
absolutely.
incredible work, And so it's a story that means a lot to me, and I'm so grateful that it gets to come out through shortwave.
Oh, Alan's gonna do above and beyond for it. I love every time I see him announcing something new because it's always above and beyond. He makes sure
Yeah.
everybody cares about it too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's a story that I don't know, maybe like I'm talking about it after I say I shouldn't talk about it, but maybe so it's about an artist who sees visions of death in his own blood, and he inadvertently pulls a mother and her young son into this chaotic conspiracy that involves secret government agencies and murder and like visions of death on massive scales. And it's all kind of bonkers, but very grounded in the characters in human situations. And yeah, I just absolutely it's a story that means a lot to me. So I'm just thrilled that it's gonna have this life.
I'm excited for it now too, and like I said, I know Alan's gonna do above and beyond getting that out there. So I can't wait for all of us to get a hold of that.
Yeah. And there's a couple other things next year that I wish I could talk about that I can't yet because they haven't been officially announced, but
Oh,
soon, soon.
soon, of course.
Yeah.
You get to be doing all these cool things here lately. I see you posting about your books all the time. Do you like to go to events and things like that? I always like to ask people. I know some people like to go to events, go to signings, go to cons. How do you feel about those? Do you get to go to them?
Um, I'm trying to think of a diplomatic way to answer that. No, at this point, I haven't been involved in any cons, and that's just my own personal like it becomes not risk reward, but the effort and the cost and all that and the energy to attend things. And it's hard because I'm on the West Coast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
nearly everything that you'd want to go to happens on the East Coast.
Which I noticed and think is very odd, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. It's bizarre. I mean, between Portland and Seattle, you'd think we'd have a ton of stuff to go to, but that's really not the case. We've got Comic Cons, but nothing else. So no, I haven't attended any. I was a guest at the very first Fracassi Fest that Mitch from Rapture held last year, and that was an absolute blast. It was so cool to meet people that I've known online for a while, and I absolutely loved it. But signings I'm up for, but I haven't had the desire to make an effort to attend a con at this point,
No,
and maybe I
absolutely.
should at some point.
I would want to go as a guest, like as a customer, but I don't think I would ever want to go as it to be my job because I would never want to be tied to my table. I would want to wander, whole 9 yards. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's obviously pros and cons to it,
yeah,
and some seem to be really a lot of fun, and others seem to be
not so much.
maybe less so. I don't know. I haven't been, so I don't know. I haven't been, so I don't know.
No, completely understand.
Someday,
Let,
someday I'll form a more educated opinion on it.
I mean, you seem to be doing pretty well without going to them because listen, I heard of you. I've seen you at my library, or
Oh
well, not
wow.
you personally at my
Yeah,
library.
yeah.
I've seen your books at my library.
That's
So
awesome. I love
whenever I
that.
see somebody's books at my library, I'm always like, oh, that's so cool because that's just
They've made it.
like not that you're in the Wall Street Journal or anything like that. You're at my library. That is the important thing. It's just the cool part.
I agree. I agree. Those things are harder than they look.
Yes,
To have your
absolutely.
books somewhere where people have access to them like that at a library. Yeah,
Yes. I feel like
absolutely.
libraries get eyes on a lot more books that people normally wouldn't have gotten a hold of, too. I don't know how many books I've read at the library over the years that I would have never actually seen at the store and just picked up and bought. But I'm like, oh, new favorite author now, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my local library has this wonderful circular display right when you walk in, and it's all the newest stuff, and it's
Oh,
curated really well. So it's really cool to see, uh you don't see it like that at a bookstore because they divvy it up by genre usually. And so the library is like the only place where I can go and see everything new in one place. And I just walk in a circle around this thing, looking at titles I'd never even heard of. So
Yes,
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
absolutely love that. Let's see. Do you think? Actually, you know what? So I've been talking to a couple of authors where it seems like horror is actually starting to become less of a taboo thing. I used to remember when I used to go search genre
Mhm.
wise, I would have to dive like 3 subcategories deep to get to the horror section. But now, hey, it's right there. You can pick. There's horror books, horror TV shows, things like that. Do you watch any of the horror TV shows, horror movies, anything like that?
A few horror movies occasionally, but I
I read
not
so
as
much,
often.
I've not kept up with the media either as far as horror.
Yeah, I hate to say this, but I'm always disappointed in horror movies, almost always,
I
and
literally
I
just
don't know
had this
why.
conversation with somebody. I
Did
would
you?
rather sit and give my time to 800 pages of a book that I'm not happy with than an hour and a half of my time with a movie.
Yeah, yeah, totally,
It's so crazy.
totally. Like, here's an example. I'm reading, or I just finished reading Keith Rawson's Coffin Moon, and have you read it?
I bought the audiobook because I bought
Yeah.
the special edition that won't be here till later.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Excellent.
So I'm
So
listening to it. I'm not
okay.
far into it yet, though.
Okay, well, I won't ruin anything, but I mean, as you'll discover, like, number 1, it's written so well. Like, Keith is just unnaturally gifted. And B, th the the way that you can dive into the psyche of a character and understand them and where they're at, and not just one character, but all of them, is unparalleled in any other art form. And, like, I'm reluctant to sit down and watch a movie that won't have that.
It
You know,
doesn't
in a
feel like enough.
no, no, and horror movies are often, like, just like, there are things that have to be there,
Yeah.
certain scares and the music and all that, and it's like, yeah, it feels manipulative to me to a certain extent, and that's not to say I don't love some horror movies, but most of them, I'm left cold, I don't feel anything,
Absolutely. It's
you
just like
know?
a quick little, hey, I'm going to watch this and then I'm going back to my book or something like that. No, totally.
Yeah,
I used to watch them all the time and I just don't as much anymore. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go find a new book to read and go
yeah,
through
I there's something about it, like, once you've read a book or 2 or 3 that have hit you in a way that only a book can, it makes the other mediums seem less effective.
No, absolutely. I agree with that. 100%. And it does make sense too, because I've been talking about this with people recently. I'm like, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. And that is a big point right there.
Yeah.
And especially with all the good books that are popping up recently too. Like, how am I even going to give time to these movies?
Yeah, yeah.
But no, that's super fun. Let's
Well,
see.
my main criticism of horror films in general is I think they exist as a delivery system for scares. I should use "scares" in quotes.
That is true.
So it's like the purpose of it existing is to try and scare an audience or gross them out. Like, we're gonna give you these splashes of violence that's incredibly brutal, and then people are gonna talk about how brutal the violence is, and that's not necessarily horror to me. It's not what I'm drawn to. I mean, I don't mind violence, but, like, if the whole film exists as a delivery system for this, then I'm just naturally
I'm
gonna
not
feel
big on
cold.
gore.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it certainly has its place, don't get me wrong, but, yeah, like, take Keith's book, for example, just because it's fresh on my mind, because I just finished it today. Like, nothing in that book scared me, and yet it is a horror novel through and through. There's no way around it. It's brutal, it's bloody, but that's not what stands out to me. The characters and the story are what keep me turning the pages.
Oh, absolutely. I say the same thing. I do read splatter, and I'm like, but there's got to be a reason for it. I don't want just a bunch of people dying, a bunch of people getting chopped up. I mean, that's no fun. Like, I need
Yeah.
there to be a story, a reason. Everything needs to be lined up. Like, draw me a picture, you know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I'm
um,
glad it all exists, you know? Like, I think every type of
Something for
art should
everybody.
exist, totally, even if it's not for me.
Exactly. It'll be something for somebody else, and they can enjoy it, and then we can all just like horror together.
Yeah, yep.
Let's see. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet?
Oh, man, there's so much we could talk about.
I
Where do we start?
know.
UFOs, Bigfoot? I mean, my goodness.
Are you into cryptids?
I've been UFO obsessed from the time I was a kid.
I'm a big X-Files fan, and I'm usually not scared by anything like whatsoever. It doesn't really get to me. Books don't scare me, but I have this bad habit of going down the no sleep creepypasta tunnel.
Oh,
And I'll
yeah.
start reading about Wendigos, and then like just get completely freaked out. There's something scratching at my door the next morning. But no,
There
UFO.
probably is. You should probably check for scratch marks.
No, that's how they're gonna get you. I don't need to even look at the door. Don't need to acknowledge it. I just make my coffee and go on. Because I've read the books, and that's how they get you.
Yeah, yeah, the moment you believe,
Yes,
right? If you don't
absolutely.
believe, it can't hurt you.
What movie was that? It's a bazillion years old. Skeleton Key. I remember there was something like that. As long as you didn't believe, it wouldn't get you, and the second you did, it was over.
Oh,
But
man. I never saw that one.
let's see. UFOs. So, do you do the whole UFO hunting thing, or you just read about it? Like, what is your obsession level?
Oh, man. So for years, my obsession level was strictly reading. So when I was young, like pre-junior high, middle school, junior high, I would go to the library and just check out every single book they had on the subject and read all about it. And yeah, I'm so fascinated. I'm curious to see what will be disclosed over the next 5 to 10 years. Like it feels like the subject is reaching a critical mass. You know, when the
Yes.
Pentagon is verifying that there are programs and videos proving that there are objects in the sky that we don't know what they are and they don't belong to us, and they operate based on physics that we don't fully understand. And there's worldwide sightings, you know. And I think anyone who thinks like, oh, there's not proof, like just dig into it for 5 minutes, you know, take a look around. There are many, many, many things that never hit the news that
And
are
then
really
the
compelling.
vast space that there is to think that there's not something out there is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you go back throughout history, you know, there's so much evidence to suggest that there are things that have been either visiting or involved for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
It'll be
So it's
interesting.
endlessly interesting.
It'll be interesting to think about when it does come out or whatever comes out, all the different shows, media, stories we've heard since forever that have come out. And you're like, oh, is that where that gleaned from? Oh, it's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be interesting.
yeah, totally. I think that those who don't want to believe, I guess I would guess it has to do with fear. You know, it's that not wanting to think that there's something else
So
and that's
vastly
visiting us.
different, probably in a completely different space than us that has somehow began and happened. It would be interesting. It's interesting to think about just as somebody that's okay with it. So I can definitely imagine someone's not. It's like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. You have to start thinking in ways that maybe you're not accustomed to. You know, like I can't remember what book it was in, but at some point years ago, and I don't quote me on the science of this, but it was something to the effect of, um, if you drew if you took a piece of paper and you drew a stick figure, that's a two-dimensional drawing. Now, let's say you could bring that stick figure to life, but it was still two-dimensional, so it could only move around on the paper. And then you put an action figure on top of the paper. That's a three-dimensional object on top of a two-dimensional world. To the two-dimensional figure, that three-dimensional object would be virtually invisible. So when you start thinking of what we have the ability to perceive and witness, and it all depends on what we're looking at. So if something that was created and or exists within a higher dimensional level, and I don't mean that in a woo-woo way, but like a clearly scientific way. Like we know there's a fourth dimension, which is time.
Have you read the Threshold series by Peter Klein's?
No. Do I need
Oh,
to?
immediately, especially after what you
Okay.
just talked about. Like the entire like fold, everything you were just talking about is in there. You are going to
Okay.
die. You need to read those.
Threshold by Peter Klein's. It's
It's
a
the
series?
Threshold series by Peter Klein's. Yeah, you
Okay.
can read them out of order. Technically, I did, but
That sounds terrible. I'm never reading anything out of order. Ever.
I just kind of fill it in. When I was growing up, there wasn't a lot of libraries around, and the small library we had never got everything in. So I'm used
Mhm.
to just reading whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I read those out of order, but they are amazing. If you're interested in that, I think you're gonna really like this.
Alright, I'll do it.
Yes,
I'll do it. I'm
absolutely.
adding it to my list.
Yes, absolutely. And he's a wonderful author. I haven't read all of his stuff, although I do own all of it. But the Threshold series, amazing. I'm a sci-fi junkie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it that as things advance too, like the writers, the science, and the thinkers we have access to now. Like a good example is Philip Focassi's recent novel, The Third Rule of
Third
Time
rule of time
Travel.
travel.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It is. I love everything that had to do with that, but because I was just like, oh yes, finally, it's getting weird, but scientific. It was. I don't know how to say this, but it was like Michael Crichton, but like sci-fi time travel-y. I don't know. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if a book like that could have been written, say, 20, 30 years ago. You know, but like the ideas in the physics and the scientists and the books that Philip had access to now gave him the ability to push that science a little bit further into the
Like,
future and
and it
imagine.
felt like it was so possible. Like, I know how
Yeah,
crazy it was, but I was like, oh, you did a good job on this one.
totally, totally.
Um,
Surprising no one that he can write both horror and sci-fi with
Absolutely. I was like, I
equal
need
dexterity.
more of this. Because I know people are just like, oh, sci fi. And I'm like, listen, have you read his other books? This is going to be amazing. And
Yeah.
it was. Um,
Oh, totally, totally.
if you did like that, have you read Gloria by Bentley Little?
No.
He usually does more horror, like one-dimensional type things, but he went a crazy sci-fi dimensional time travel route with Gloria. And when I tell you I've read that book like 30 times and still pick up new things every time, it's insane.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great to know. I had no idea it was that trippy.
Yeah, it's weird, crazy. When I think about it, I tell people this is definitely a one-off from him. It's not like any of his other books, so be
Yeah.
prepared.
Okay.
But
So I've
yeah,
read some of his other stuff, and like Bentley Little does what Bentley Little does, which is very grounded horror for the most
he
part.
takes like a mundane object and makes it sinister. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, like the DMV or the mailman.
Yeah. And Gloria was just completely different. I read it the first time and I was like, I don't understand, and not in a bad way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had to dive back in. But yeah. I
That's
should probably
high
stop giving you
praise.
a million books to go read right now.
Yeah, jeez. Lexi, come on. I already had books on my TBR.
I know. I'm sorry. This is
It's
what
okay.
I do. I get
It's okay.
to tell everybody what they should read. But anyway, let's see. I'm not going to keep you too much longer since we've been ranting about books.
No worries.
But thank you so much for coming. This has been so much fun, and I really enjoyed getting to talk to you. This is so different from just across the screen and sharing Facebook posts.
Absolutely, Lexi. It's been a joy. Thank you